Yo, what's up, everybody? That's right. The Boston Source here is back tonight, and we got, the latest edition. It's been a while, but we got the latest edition of Raising the Scales, man. We got my guy Greg here in the building. Of course, we've been talking a couple times here about the fight that happened on Saturday night. So, trying to see if we could get your thoughts on what happened, what went down, and everything like that, man. So, what did you think of this fight, and who you think won that joint?
Uh, Entertaining fight. I really, uh, I was okay with the decision just because I thought Lamont landed clean shots. But I just didn't think that he had his foot on the gas enough to take the belt from the champ. He was just standing in front of him too much without really turning on the gas. If he turns on the gas, he wins the fight easy.
Mm, mm. And the thing was, when I was, looking at, the scorecards after the fight, a couple of judges had it like 59-55 in favor of Tank after 6 rounds. So you had like two judges with it 59-55, and one judge had it, 57-57 even through 6 rounds. So Lamar Roach had to, do a lot in the second half of the fight, just to get it to where it could have been like a draw for, at least one of the scorecards. You feel me? So he would have had to win,
Yeah,
like 5 of the last 6 rounds on like two of them scorecards.
yeah,
And still it was like, hey, couldn't necessarily do enough to get the win now.
yeah, you had a lot of the rounds early on. They could go either way. I mean, the first round, I would have gave it to Tank. Nobody really did nothing that was that impressive. You know what I mean? I would have gave that one to Tank. Second one, I would have gave to Lamont. And you had too many rounds like that. Now, as it got later on in the fight, Lamont started to he looked good keeping Tank off of him. But like I say, he never put his foot on the accelerator. If he would have came forward to get Tank, he would have won that fight.
Hmm.
I really
So
think
you
he
feel
would have won if he would have came and if he would have had his foot on the accelerator.
mm, like be a little bit more aggressive, get the jab more
Just like
active, a little bit more, and that type of stuff. And one of the
exactly.
other things he was talking about was like you seen there with the power shots from Tank, like he was landing, more effectively with his power shots in comparison to
Correct.
Lamar Roach there. So I think that could have been like a major factor there in the judges scoring those rounds in favor of Tank Davis, especially early in that fight.
I agree. And then you had the controversial taking the knee, which the ref he missed that one. You just can't turn to take a knee without getting. You got to get counted. That should have been a 10-8 round right there.
Mm, yeah, and just following up on that, it's like they say in the New York State Athletic Commission, you may have dropped the ball on it because if it's something where he starts to count and then he stops counting, he pretty much like wave it off. It's not a knockdown. Now, yesterday I was saying like maybe they would have had as they do a official on ringside that once the person goes down that they start a count. So just in case if the referee had looked away for a couple of seconds as far as like getting the opponent to the neutral corner, that they would look to that person that's on the outside to resume the count. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I had to go back to see how Steve Willis handled it, but it almost seemed like he like moved it a certain way or whatever it was, and after he started like going to two, then he stopped the count, and then after that the I guess the commission said that it wasn't a knockdown, so they didn't rule it a knockdown. But if it's
How
somewhere to the point where the state athletic commission messed up, then you could have a disputed decision or whatever it is. But like I've seen in a couple of replays, at the very least, it looked like Roach threw a punch that
he
landed
did.
around the eye, and then still, it affected Tank's eye, and he like wiped it. He was wiping it and everything like that. But whatever happened, whether it's a punch or even if it's like the thumb part of the glove, it still should count as a punch. In many cases.
He he threw the jab. I don't think the jab was that hard, but Tank sort of delayed, stepped back, and then went down. I don't think the jab hurt him. I
Hmm.
just I was somewhat skeptical why he went down because the shot didn't seem like it was that hard.
Yeah.
Just watching it,
Hmm.
but
Yeah. And the thing that he was explaining it right after the fight and in the post fight press conference, but some people can see that replay and be like, hey, if it's somewhere it ends up, like I said, with the part with the thumb, like it could be like a sharp part that could really like affect you. You know what I mean? And given that it's late in the fight, you could have, sweat, you know what I'm saying? So the sweat could get in the eye like that, and that could really affect your vision like that.
and then Tank got a million excuses. Hair grease. He didn't know the rounds, and I just think that he took Lamont lightly, and he thought that it was going to be an easy fight. And Lamont, he showed up to fight.
Mm, interesting, because in the build up, Tank was saying that he was aware of like Roach's power and that type of stuff, and the history that they had in the amateurs, and working in the gyms over there in the area and all of that. So I would find it interesting to say that even after all that, he still would underestimate Lamont Roach in that sense. And Lamont Roach said that hey, he said the whole time that he is coming in there and he is going to show y'all how good he is and everything like that. So that was a part on his end because it was not just about having that familiarity, but going into the fight, how many people like picked against him, and the odds. It was like minus 1,600 in
Yeah,
favor of Tank Davis, and plus 900 for Lamont Roach. So that shows you how wide the odds were for that fight.
but if you look at them, it seemed to me that they were satisfied with the outcome. And when I heard like what him and even his father had said, like you can't be satisfied with the outcome because they probably saying to themselves, if you put your foot on the gas, there's no way they could have took that fight away from him. If
Nah.
he would have fought like Russell fought, coming
Mm,
forward, just banging him out, he wins the fight easy.
mm. Now, I mean, I talked with Lamar Roach Sr., after the press conference and all that, and we felt like, they took it from Lamar Roach Jr. He said that at the time that we felt like his son did enough to, win the fight and had the right specific strategy to, one, keep up with Tank and be there, tit for tat for the exchanges there, on the inside. So, I mean, I'll
I'm gonna tell
follow
you,
up, you know what I mean? So
let's
to
see.
see, what they if they, properly assess the fight, and then if they have, anything else that, they wanted to add as far as like what they saw, after being there, of course, being part of the fight.
That's easier said than done. Though I still don't. I don't really. I don't really. I don't really buy it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you really look at that fight, I mean, it was Roach's fight. That was his fight. All he got to do was accelerate. I and it was like Roach. First thing he said was like, "Yeah, It's all good. No, it can't. This is your opportunity of a lifetime." But when you really look at it, okay, if Roach wins that fight, you got to have an immediate rematch because Roach
Mm,
don't have a fan base to really put nobody in those seats. So where do you go from there? That's why those fights like that right there, you have to you have to come and pitch a shutout, right, to get the win. If you don't do that right there, you don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance because at the end of the day, when you're looking at the business aspect of it, you got the broker right now with
Hmm.
Tank versus Lamont. Lamont don't have a base like that. Like the real fans know who Lamont is, right? Even a lot of the novice fans don't even realize who he is, right? But the real ones do. So, but he can't. It's hard to replace Tank with anything close. It can't be close. You got to pitch a shutout
Mm. So it pretty much like
because at
goes
the end of
into.
the
Yeah, I was saying like you had the thing there like on the side with Tank Davis with him being like the main guy there as far as like the Amazon Prime pay-per-view deal and that type of stuff. And then on the other
correct,
side you got Roach Jr. like who's pretty much had to build his way back up from being in Golden Boy Promotions, having the initial shot for a world title against Jamel Herring, falling short, and then building himself back up to get to the point to fight Hector Luis Garcia and then get the win from there. But still, after that win, he had to, be part of the thing there where he signed with ProBox TV. Shout out Gary Jonas on that. But we got the win to defend that title, and then that put him in position for this fight against Tank Davis. Now it's like after this performance, what is going to be next? Is it gonna have enough momentum for them to have the rematch? And well, the key thing is it going to have enough demand for a rematch? You know what I mean?
oh yeah, the public won't see it, but I don't think Tank will fight him again. Tell me who has Tank fought in the rematch? Nobody. Tank ain't gonna fight him again. It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean,
Tank said the same
you
thing
see,
about Pitbull.
you see what he said at the press conference. He said, "Yeah, I will want it next, but it's not going to be next."
Yeah, he's not gonna fight. Look, man, Tank wants if Ryan Garcia win, he wants Ryan. Big name, it's gonna bring money, and he feels as soon as I clip Ryan, the fight's over. He don't look at Ryan as a threat. He look at old boy more of a threat than Ryan Garcia because Ryan don't have a lot of punching power. That's the type of guys that he like to face. If you look at Garcia, that last fight, he went away from the game plan, and what happened? He gets clipped. He fight the perfect fight for Tank, right? He don't use his that first round. He looked good. I said, "Oh, we got something." And then what happened? He abandoned everything, and then he started fighting small because you come inside.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Tank touch him, the fight's over. So it's like, you know, what are you really doing? You
Mm-hmm.
can't fight. That's the fight he really wanted. If you look at him, he said he was gonna fight 4 more fights, right? He named 3 opponents, and then he said he was gonna be done, right? He ain't taking nobody dangerous. Like Lamont gave him more than what he bargained for.
Mm. Well, the thing is, I think he has 4 fights on this deal there with Amazon Prime, as he like had a 6 fight deal initially. So he had the first fight with Frank Martin. This fight here Saturday was the second fight. So we got 4 more fights to go in. And even though he had the whole thing about retiring, we pretty much like followed up with that. Shout out to Matt from Brunch Boxing and said like, hey, did this kind of like give you the motivation that said, hey, you want to really like get back in it? And he was like, yeah. So we said he got 4 more fights. So at the very least, he's gonna fight 4 more times. But the thing about it is that Tank said that the person that he's fighting next was in the locker room with him, and they
Man,
said
he ain't fighting Jake Paul.
like
Jake Paul's too big
it,
for him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't think it would be Jake Paul, but I'm hoping that it's not Isak Cruz. I don't think that Isak Cruz would be a good fight now. Like if you ain't getting like an immediate rematch here at this particular point of Isak Cruz's career, I wouldn't necessarily like that. You know what I mean? That's why I say, hey, just go ahead and have that Lamar Roach rematch. If folks are saying like, okay, you had Barclays Center sold out, well, pretty much like the highest attended event in the Barclays Center have like a gate that probably reached up to 8 million. Why not do that over again? Whether it's at Barclays or in DC, why not do it again?
Man, have that fight in DC. That's where that fight belongs.
Yeah.
Have it in DC. Let them boys bang it out at home.
Hmm. Yep. I mean, it's only right. It's only right. Only like the time where they had it, March 1st, they couldn't have it at the Verizon Center because they had like two events going on in that date, so they couldn't really put it there. So I say, hey, y'all find an open date. It could be after basketball season or whatever, basketball hockey season, 4 months from now or 5 months from now, something, and just do it again. You know what I mean? I don't care about the WBA super featherweight title. Like, why have Lamont Roach have the fifth mandatory when you could go ahead and just have this rematch? And the initial report said, like, the president said, hey, it will be open for Lamont Roach to go ahead and go for that rematch if that's there for him. So why not go? Why not have the rematch? Now,
Let's do
you
it.
also, yeah, what up?
I'm game for the rematch. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. One time to put my guys on the chat there, brother Jay Pylon and Prison Talk with Tommy there in the building, man. What's going on with y'all? Now you had the thing there with reference to what you're talking about, but Gary Antoine Russell in his fight against Jose Raul Valenzuela, man, he pitched a near shutout. Almost stopped Raul Valenzuela on a couple of occasions, but pretty much the best fight that he could possibly do there in that one against Raul, because there were times when even as good as Russell was doing, like Raul was catching him a couple times. So then Antoine just stepped back a little bit, recalibrated himself, was patient, and then just went back to like going to the jab and then building off the jab and everything. So he's now the new WBA champ. They're 140, and hey, could be that's potentially a limit for him though. You know what I mean?
Antoine's a dog, bro. He's different. Them Russells
Yep.
is different, bro.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, he said, man, he said multiple times when I was talking with him, he was like, no, I can't lose this joint. I can't lose this joint. I felt like I did lose against Cuello, but even with that, he felt like there was stuff missing that he didn't do in that fight. So he was like, here for this, ain't no way he's gonna slip up. Ain't no way he's gonna slow down. None of that. So he just went in there and, like you said, just continue to go forward and press the action there against Ryo, force Ryo to be a boxer, which he isn't necessarily comfortable in doing that, fighting off of his back foot. So that's why he had a couple moments where it almost seemed like Ryo could have went down to the canvas or the ref could have stepped in on him.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, you could tell he was coming. He wasn't gonna take no for an answer. The way he was fighting, he was bringing it.
Yeah, it was like he couldn't be denied that night. Like he couldn't be denied that
Right.
night, and for him to kind of like win that belt, there was like a lot of hoopla behind him, going into the pros, and those first fights, man, 17 fights, he was able to get 17 stoppages or whatever it is, and then you had the fight there against Alberto Puello, and it just ended up that he fell short there by decision. But here he did not want to make it any doubt that he's a better fighter there against Ryo, that man. He says he wants that get back with Puello, and Puello won against Sandro Martinez. So hey, we could get that rematch too.
Yeah, I would like to see him revenge his loss. I would
And
love
see
to see that.
that's another reason why we should have that Tank versus Roach rematch in DC. We could have that quick about the unification there with Gary Antoine Russell and Alberto Puello, man. Hey, it should be an easy setup. I'm like, look, we got an easy setup right there. There's two fights that we can have right off the bat. Shout out to my guy Big Dre. there at the JVT Boxing Family, man. Yo, it was good to see you out there last weekend. There, for the fight and everything like that, man. So I couldn't make it to like you had like a little meet and greet there on Friday night, but man, I was so busy that day too, man. Ooh, man, I'm telling you, that whole weekend was crazy. You know what I mean? It was insane. There, man. Oh, I think my guy like had some type of call there or something because it looked like his thing kind of got cut. I don't know if he was like in the gym or something like that. But that's you know, I would say see if he'll be able to get back on here because I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get him on. He might have to reconnect or something like that. So we'll see how that goes, man. But yeah, that's the thing, man. I'll see if he'll be able to get back on here in a bit. Yeah, man. Low. I was doing a whole bunch of errands like from hey, my thing was I shouldn't have stayed as long as I did there at the Barclays Center after the whole thing with the weigh-in or whatnot because I had left. I went to the joint there with what it was went down the street. There was like a Buffalo Wild Wings something, and got something from there. Then went back your hotel, had to run an errand, and by the time I got back, do a few things there, at the hotel. It ended up being like 10 o'clock, 10:30 or whatever it is, and then it turned to like 11. And by the time I got pretty much done what I had to do, I hit up senior and I was like, yo, I don't know when I'll be able to make it. See if I try to make it there on time. But yeah, it just didn't work out. Oh my God, G back in it, man. What's happening?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should be all good. You got
Yeah,
me?
yeah. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was saying there with the Russell joint, man. Like you see if we do unification. Shout out to my guy Topic in the building, man. He says that he'd like to see Antoine get a defense first. All right. I mean, we'll see, how they do it because I mean, what it is, March 3rd. I have to check something here real quick. Because they had the thing with Rio, as the champ, and Gary Antoine was like ranked number 6 in the WBA before this fight. So Rio might have the option to do a rematch, but I'm not sure if that's gonna end up happening or whatnot. So we'll see. You know what I mean? But I would really like to see that unification, though. I'd say that.
That's must see right there. I think everybody wants to see it.
Hmm. Yeah, especially after the joint with Puyo versus Sandor Martin. Like I was saying yesterday, I was surprised about that matchup being how it was because I thought that Sandor was he usually is more of like a defensive minded guy, and with Puyo he kind of keeps his distance as far as like him having the height and the reach and stuff like that. Multiple times Sandor Martin was taking a fight to Puyo, and Puyo had to you know, really work for him to get that decision win. So props to Puyo on that. I mean, I thought that he would win. It just that I didn't think it would have as much action that it actually did there at that particular point. So that was a good scrap between them two. Tough break for Sandor Martin. He came in there as like the outsider, coming from top rank or whatever it was. But only was able to get one judge to decide it in his favor, and two judges just had it in favor of Alberto Puello there for that WBC super lightweight title. Um, what did you think about that one?
Interesting fight. Another good one. That was a good card. I mean, a lot of exciting fights. I think the card made the main event worth watching. But yeah, that was another good fight. I thought they went the right way with it, without a doubt.
Hmm. I mean, and here's the other joint there too with what I was talking about with the unification because Sandor Martin was the mandatory challenger. So that means like, Quail could be open to face anybody, that's out there. So he don't have to worry about no mandatory or nothing. So he could, if it was open, he could try to go with that unification. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, hey, why not go ahead and have that happen next? You feel me? Like you were saying, man, pretty much like all those fights were good on the card, man. The undercard, even of course, you had the thing there with Yoenis Sayas and your guy Julian J. Rock Williams. That went, the full rounds too, man. Like all four fights on that card went the full 12 rounds. We didn't get no knockout, no stoppages, nothing. But still had, moments there where there was great action in each one of those fights.
Yeah, all of them was exciting fights. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, they were exciting. Like J Rock, he's been around for a long time. He still look, he come to fight. He put on a good show. You know what I mean? It's like that's what you want. Show you he's still crafty, still skillful. Hey, still worth the ticket.
Yeah. Yep. You went up in there with that upstart there. You went as Tejas, who only had like nine pro fights going into it, and had a couple of instances where he looked like he won a couple of rounds here and there, but it was just that Tejas was more accurate, more active in multiple parts of the fight for him to get that unanimous decision win. Uh, we got this last joint here that I wanted to touch on from that card is Jared Hurd, man. Hurd
Yeah,
he lost by split decision, but two judges. Well, one judge had it like 98-92 for Johan Gonzalez, and the thing with Jared Hurd was you really didn't have much as far as like effort at different spurts of the fight. In a lot of instances, it felt like he was getting seriously hurt by Johan Gonzalez. My thing was is early in the fight when you didn't see him like really hurt Johan Gonzalez, then that's when it looked like he was going to have some trouble, because if he
yeah,
couldn't really get the action like that from the get go, then yeah, he wouldn't be able to get through or get the upper hand there as far as like the decision.
yeah. It was music to my ears when I see that he was retiring. Right, it's time. It's like if you look at his last couple fights, it's sort of been hard to watch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you never want to see him just sticking around, just taking unnecessary punishment and stuff, right? So I was glad to see that he announced his retirement. Figure out what else he gonna do for his next phase of his life.
Yeah,
Pretty
because
much go from there.
I know that he had to deal with a few things over the past few years and whatnot. But he's able to start up his own gym. He's had like a good program there in his gym. And he just said like he had to fight there against Jason Rosario last year on Pro Box that ended up in a draw. And at least with thought like, hey, maybe if he would have gotten the win, maybe that could have put him in position for maybe another good fight there within the division or whatnot. But with it being a draw, it couldn't necessarily kind of like put him in position for like one of those type of fights. But yeah, here with him like losing Johan Gonzalez, especially when Gonzalez was coming off of getting stopped there by Yuenis Tejas, that yeah, and like he said there before the fight, if he couldn't get past Johan Gonzalez, then yeah, it's time to wrap it up, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, you rather see him, go out like that versus going out on a shield. You never want to see
Right?
him
Yeah.
just get beat up too bad where they forced to retire. I mean, he
Mhm.
made the right decision. I mean, the game's been good to him. Now it's time to ride off in the sunset and just enjoy life, man. That's the game.
Yep. Yep. For sure. I'm sure he got himself set up well to kind of like continue what he needs to do as far as like projects and things like that. I was talking about the gym that he has, and he probably got like a number of other programs that he's working on here to continue what's going on after his professional career. So props to Jared Hurd. Of course, like I said, he was able to become a unified champion there in his professional career. Had his wins over Tony Harrison, Austin Trout, and the classic, of course, with Arislandi Lara, man. So that kind of like was one of the definitive fights in the super welterweight division, in these modern day times, man. So, props to him on that front. So we will see what's going to be next for him. Man, I don't know one way or another. I might see if I could chop it up with him, see if I could go by his gym or something like that to, kind of like get what he was feeling there during the fight and whatnot. You feel me? But that's mainly what I had. Is there like anything else that you wanted to touch on in reference to the fight card or the main event?
Main event, if they do it again, hey Roach, just keep your foot on the gas. Come and dominate. I mean, opportunity of a lifetime for you. You put on a good showing. I mean, I think regardless if you fight Tank in a rematch, I see Shakur said he would even dance with you if Tank don't. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, his stock risen. But next time, if you get the rematch, hey, come in there to win. Come in there to take it to him. Hey, don't play with him because you had him, bro. And I'll be the first to say you landed the cleanest shots at times. I mean, but you just wasn't coming forward enough to really take it from the champ. Take it from the champ. You got to whoop him, man. You can't just say you beat him. You got to take it to him. It can't be close.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when it's when it ends up going through 12 rounds, and then there's a judgment, and either it's like a draw or something where the scores are like they are 114, 114, or a 115, 113. Then you pretty much have it to where it's like close that the fight could have gone either way if one fighter or the other just did a couple more things there over the course of the fight. So I think here next time around, Lamont Roach Jr. knows what he knows about Tank and what he can do against Tank, and I feel like he's gonna take that into account. And as I speak right now, it looks like they're trying to, make the moves to try to get that rematch happening next. So hopefully that does come to fruition because I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, so yeah, with that being said, man, that's it on my end. And shout out to Greg there. It looks like where he's at is kind of like a little thing going on there as far as the connect. But big thanks for him to jump on here once again. Like I said, we will still have some more conversations on that. We got more here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. Check out the boxingsource.net. I'm still working on the stuff there for the photo highlights of each of those fights. And I'm talking about each of those fights with the exception of the very first fight that was on the card there at the Barclays Center. So y'all just be on the lookout there for fighting in photos for each of those fights on the particular fight card that happened on Saturday at the Barclays Center. And we'll have more content through the website, through the YouTube channel, and stuff like that. And you will see about working on some more stuff because even with all that went down at the Barclays Center, there were still multiple fights that happened on March 1st, including what happened over in Mexico. Like I said, with one of my previous guests, Brooklyn Barwick was able to get a stoppage win there for a pro debut. You had the number of fights that was on Jeter Promotions at Maryland Live. You also had there Subriel Matias that had the win there to become the top-rated contender for the IBF super lightweight title, of course, who's currently held by Richard Hitchens, who beat Liam Paro, who beat Subriel Matias. So that's the thing about it. And we're definitely going to have more. Shout out to my guy, the Topic TV there. Says Boxing Source, number one source for boxing talk. A topic I will have to get at you pretty soon because there's a plan in place here for a network that's going to be. Let's see if we could try to create, and I want you to be a part of it. So be on the lookout for something here later on down the line because we're trying to build something around here, and I definitely want you to be part of that team. So look for something here, during this week. I don't know, probably by tomorrow. Hopefully, I can get everything set up by tomorrow, and then I'll reach out to you on it as we got a project that's in the works here. Not necessarily through the boxing source, but we'll try to create something on that front. So yeah, I'll reach out to you on that. Big thanks for everyone that's listening live here for this particular version of Raising the Scales. You can hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video here, for people to kind of like get this conversation, so you get various takes of folks that had their thoughts on the fight that happened on Saturday there at the Barclays Center. Like I said, pretty much like broke records there at the Barclays Center. So that's why they're pretty much like enticed to have it back at the Barclays Center. But nah, we need it back home. We need it back home. All right. So that being said, that's it for me. I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.